Now I would like to introduce to you tonight's speaker, Sara Dockery, who is our Library and Archive Supervisor for the NAWCC. Thank you, Sara.
Hi everybody. So I'm just going to be going over tonight just how to use the Library and Research Center resources that are online. We'll be looking at going through the website a little bit, giving you an idea of how to use the catalog, how to use some of the special features that we've got going on the website, how to access the Bulletin online, use the indexes, and then we'll, of course, have some time for any questions if I didn't cover something that you're interested in, or if you have any more specific questions. So I'm just going to go here to the NAWCC website, which is nawcc.org for anybody who doesn't know that. If you're a member, it's very important to go ahead when you come on, just go ahead and log in. I've already logged in here. This would be blue if I wasn't, and it would say log in. And once you log in, of course, it turns orange and says log out. That's the way you make sure you can go ahead and get access to everything. There are lots of resources that you can get access to without being logged in, but it's really frustrating when you get to that point. You find that article you want to look to and suddenly you realize you're not logged in. So this is the main page. We've got the message board is always important, the members directory, but today we're going to be talking about the Library and Research Center, so we're going straight to the Library and Research section of the website. So just a quick overview of what we've got just right as you come in. We've got over here on the right a few important icons. The research takes you straight to how to do reference requests. Is one of our big things. All members get unlimited free reference requests. We do reference for non-members for a $20 fee. And all of that information is right here. We've got how to get in touch with us, what we're looking for, exactly how it works, and all of that just here. The other one on the side is also the link to find new books. This gets updated every 2 months, and this list also goes in the bulletin for anybody who's interested. It just gives you a little list of what we've been taking on recently that might be of interest to people. We've got the new books and the new videos listed here. This is actually, the Wake Up and Write is actually an online exhibit that we did a few years ago as a tie-in with the Wake Up exhibit of alarm clocks, and this was thanks to one of our members, Robert Hensley, who collects postcards. We had a big collection, a big exhibit of postcards that deal with alarm clocks, and then he was nice enough to let us scan all of those and put them online, so that's there for everybody to enjoy. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to go over is how to use the library catalog. That's very important. I get that question a lot. People want to know how they can find out what books and videos we have available. There's a few links to the library catalog on the page, but the easiest one is right here. I'm circling it with my mouse here. It's the third one down on the left. It just says library catalog. If you click on that, you get to our library homepage. If we have any announcements or anything, that goes right here. Right now I don't have anything, so it's just Library and Research Center. And then we have the recently added titles. It will tell you in real time what we've got going, what's been cataloged recently. We're working on a big project to catalog all of our vertical files so that everybody will be able to find out what's there as far as those go. So there's a bunch of those. We've got a new book here. So that's a way to just kind of find out what we've been doing recently. So if you want to search the catalog, the search is easy to access right here at the top. The default goes to searching all words, which basically means it's going to search for whatever word you ask for in any instance throughout all of the records. So title, author, subjects, summaries, anything. Which can be nice if you know one word that's involved, but it's not the title or it's not the author. Otherwise, it's really, really cumbersome because you're going to get so many results. So for example, if I put in clocks, this is going to take a little while because it's going to be searching a whole lot of information. We're going to get an enormous result here because it's looking for that word anywhere in any record, which means it's going to bring up any time that anything mentions a clock, and vamping because it's going to take a minute. There you go. So we have 4,334 results. That's a little much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try some different things. You can go with title, and that's sometimes good. The thing is, the catalog is very literal. It will only search for exactly what you put in there in a title. So if you're looking for a book that has the word clock in it and you put clocks with an S, it will not bring up that book. It can be kind of annoying, but it's nice if you know exactly what you're looking for. What I recommend is to go with a subject search because that will search just the subject headings. It will get you a more refined look at what you're looking for. It'll give you a better idea, although again, when I'm searching for clocks, it's going to give me a whole bunch of results. It may not even cut any of these down. We'll see. Yeah, I cut it down a tiny bit. We got 3516. That's still really big. So I'm going to go ahead and search, make it a little bit more more specific. I'm going to go with carriage clocks because that's what I'm really actually looking for. So there we go. We got 105. That's a little bit more manageable if what you're really interested in is finding information about carriage clocks. So I'm going to stop here and go ahead and give you an overview of how the records work. As you go through, you'll see that it's 10 to a page. The records that you're looking for. You've got your title. You got a little preview of what the cover looks like if we've got it scanned in there. We have tried to scan everything. The majority of the books have a cover there. It just makes it look nicer. It also is really helpful because sometimes all you can remember is, it's that one. It's got the red cover, and so it's really nice to be able to see that. So then we've got just in your preview mode, you've got the author's name, you've got the call number, ISBN, publication info, all that's very helpful. I'm going to go over in a second how to use these over here because I want to go into the record first. So this is going to give you a look at what a typical record looks like. Again, it's a lot of the similar information. It'll tell you how many pages are in it, it'll tell you when it was published, who the author is, the title. If there's an alternate form of the title, it'll be there. Any more information, if we've got a summary. Carriage clocks is the subject. Sometimes there'll be a few more. Charles Terwilliger, I believe, is one of it. Did the forward for this one, I believe. And then down here, you've got your list of holdings. This tells you how many copies we have and where they're located. We've got 1 copy in special collections. We've got 4 lending copies. That means we've got 4 copies available to be borrowed. At the moment, they're all in. So if you wanted to borrow this, you'd have a great chance of getting a copy of it immediately. We've also got here, we've got this for as many of the books as we can. This is a scan of the table of contents. The idea is because so many people are borrowing online remotely, we want them to be able to get make sure before they borrow something that something is exactly what they're looking for. Anybody who does research is familiar with the feeling of going in the library catalog, looking up for information, finding a book, seeing the title and going, oh, that's it, that's the book I've been looking for, and then you get off the shelf, you look at the table of contents and go, oh no, that's not it at all. So it's nice to be able to go ahead and preview that. So this gives you an idea of what's in there. Table of contents, we've got the index here so you can get more specific. so you can see what exactly is there before you go through the process of borrowing the book or going and taking it off the shelf. So quickly, other things you can do from the catalog here, you can add to the clipboard. If you're looking, you're not sure what you want to borrow, you can add books to the clipboard and they'll come up over here. You'll get a little list. This is just for you. There's no way to send me the list. There's no way to send somebody else the list. Unfortunately, it'd be great if there was. But you can put a set together. You're not quite sure what you want to get. You can put books over here so you know what you're looking for. And I lost my search. There it is. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can go ahead and request a hold. This little button here that says request hold. If you click on that, you get this little form. You put your name in, you put your member number, your email address, and you submit this. It sends an email to me which tells me that you're interested in the book. That's a good way for people to go ahead and just borrow books online. If you do that, give us a couple hours to get your email and get back to you, but we'll send you an email back saying we see that you want to borrow these. That's good. We'll have you verify your address, find out how you want to pay the lending fee, and we'll get them off to you. For some people, that's easier than calling us or printing out the form and mailing it in. So that's a book. Let's take a look at one of the videos. So this one, Ken Hogwood's American Carriage Clocks, Trash or Treasure. Again, you got a little information here. It was up by Ken Hogwood. The call number is DVD 9922. It was published here, so that's one of ours. It was recorded at the symposium in 2012. It's got the summary here. So if we click on that, a little more information. Is 53 minutes long. Subject is carriage clocks. There's 4 lending copies. One of them is checked out. And also from this, you can go ahead and actually watch online. We've got anything that's available to watch online has a link here in the catalog, so you can just go straight to it, so you don't have to worry about trying to find it later. So that's right there. There's a couple other ways to find these online videos or to find the information about the videos. We'll go over that in just a second. I want to finish with the catalog. So that's basically how that works. It's always a good idea, and this is something that I always tell people, you just sit down and try some things. If you're looking for a book and you're really not sure exactly what you want, or you're not sure if we have anything on the subject, try some different subject headings, try some different titles. It's always, when you're doing research, especially online, using any sort of system like this with just a find, try a bunch of different terms and see what you come up with. That's always a really good way to do it. Like that's how librarians do it. You go through, you don't know exactly what you're looking for, but you just try some different things. You put in some different titles, some different subject headings, and see what pops up. That's a really good way to just find information and find what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to move on to how to access the videos online. So I'm going to go back to the library page here. We're going to go over to this side again. So in order to access the videos online, you go here to the lending library. We have another link here to the catalog. We have the lending guidelines. Those just tell you the requirements for borrowing a book, all of that. It's a 6-week loan. You're limited to 3 when you're going through the mail. All of that information is there in case you have a question. We have copies of the lending form here, so you can click on that and get a PDF copy if you can't find one, or you can't find your MART and you need a copy. Those are right there online. Another link to the new books is right there, another link to the OPAC. So we're going to go to the video programs because I want to go over that again real quick. So this is the video programs page. It tells you, we have the videos, little picture of them. We've got the library video program listing here. That's a PDF It's a list of all of the videos in the program committee video library. Anything that is available online will come up here in blue. You can actually link straight from there to your video. If you see something that you're interested in, that's a really good way to do it. It shows you the call number here. It shows you the title, the author, a little summary, how long the video is, and whether it's whether we only have it in VHS. If it doesn't say we have it in both, but it will tell you if we only have it in VHS, just so that you know, because so few people actually have VCRs these days. We want to make sure that people know that that's what they're getting before they ask, and we usually will check if somebody asks for something that's VHS only and they didn't say they wanted a VHS. We'll check and make sure, because we'd hate to send somebody one and find out they don't have anything to play it on. So that's another way to access the online videos. It's another way to find out what's here that you can look for. If you're better in paper, you can print this out and have a whole list of the videos. Every time we add more videos, we update it, so it gets updated regularly with more information. And of course, you can get those online there. Another link to the lending form, just in case you get inspired. And then, of course, the online video programs is another way to get into those. There's a list here. Starts with the slideshow conversions. Those are ones that a big project we've been working on for a couple of years now. We used to have all of these slide programs that were put together so that chapters would have something to borrow. They could borrow a thing of slides and a cassette tape, and they could show it at their meetings. Obviously, that's not so practical these days, so we actually went through, we're digitizing all of the slides, we're digitizing the cassette tapes and putting them together, so those are on DVD now. And there's some great programs in there, some really interesting stuff. So those are first, and then we go into just the list of everything that's there. So if you ever just want to find a video, you're thinking you might want one for a chapter presentation and you're not sure if it's going to work for the chapter, you can always preview them here. I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know sometimes people do have issues with watching the videos. I actually was supposed to be running this webinar off of Firefox, and for some reason Firefox isn't happy with the videos. I couldn't play any of the videos through it, so I had to switch to Chrome. Our webmaster wasn't able to figure out what was wrong, and so I just said I would switch over. So if you're having trouble, you should definitely contact the webmaster here. They'll try to walk you through what's wrong. If they can't figure it out, you can always switch to another browser. If you're watching on your iPad, you need to make sure that they are in Flash, and we do have information about how to find programs that will play them. But again, check with the webmaster if you're having trouble, because I was having trouble, and it happens to everybody. So I wanted to go quickly over. I'm going to go get a little bit further over the lending information because we did just change it. Again, you can find the lending guidelines here on the website under lending guidelines. It gives you an idea of how it works. Basically, we'll take requests. People, you can call, you can email, you can use the request hold button I showed you on the catalog. You can send us a letter in the mail. You can print out the lending form, right here on the website and send that in. There's not really any restrictions on how to get in touch with us to do your lending, because we understand that sometimes sometimes it's just easier to pick up the phone and ask. So if you're using the lending form here, it has the 3 slots for the 3. We do limit that when you're going through the mail, just because that's for our benefit, because otherwise we'd be constantly trying to figure out how to send packs of 8 books and things, and it would be a lot more difficult. So we go ahead and just limit it to 3 at a time. We just recently changed the lending fee. It's $7. It's a flat rate, no matter how many you get. We do insurance if a book is valued at over $200 or over. It's just an extra dollar for every step up. So like an extra dollar, one extra dollar if you're doing 200, 2 if it's 300, 4 if it's sorry, 3 if it's 400. And you can, each book that needs insurance has a little marker there in the catalog. You can just call us and find out if you're confused or you don't know what that is. We will always let you know if that's what we need. We just recently switched to UPS. After going through, I mean, some of you probably participated in our survey to find out how people felt. We did find most people preferred the idea of switching to UPS. We did do that. It's worked out really well so far, but we do have a thing here. If you can't use UPS, then just initial here and we'll send it by the post office. Like I said, a 6-week loan. You can always call, email, I don't know, send a letter if you need to renew. It's most efficient to call or email, but as long as there's nobody has put in a request for the book and it's not on hold to anybody else, we can always renew going forward. It's just so that every 6 weeks we need somebody to be able to check in, let us know they still have the books, and we can always go ahead and renew it. Okay, so let's get into some of the fun stuff that's available on the website. We've been through the more technical stuff. So here under research, we've got a little thing about how to use the library. We got the research requests again. We're going to go straight here to company records because those are fun. So we've got here the E. Howard Company records. Those came to us through the Smithsonian. The actual records are in their possession, but we partnered with them to digitize them. And so we have PDFs of all of those records online, and those are all available to members. Anybody can access those. So we're going to look at that real quick. The Howard records can be a little difficult to navigate, but the best is if you have an idea of when something was installed. You can see here, it'll tell you what dates we're covering here under each one. And so if you look in those books, sometimes you're going to have to sit there and page to page to page look for them, but they are there. And of course, all you have to do is call us up if you're having a problem. We'll see what we can find. So I'm just going to do a quick demonstration on that. I had the other day somebody called and asked me about the Savannah Courthouse clock. It was installed in 1890. So we're going down here to tower clocks. These are clock orders. They're less specific. They're just clocks that they made for people. But I'm going to go down here to tower clocks. So I like those. So there's the cover of the book. We're going to go through a little bit. We're going to wait for this to load so that it shows me the page. These are big files, by the way, so if your internet is a little slow, you're going to need to wait a little while for them to load, but they are so worth it because it's so interesting to see these actual order forms. Come on. There we go. So we're back on tower clocks. So aren't those gorgeous? So we go through, and so they have here a listing of all the cities and what page they're on, which is really helpful if you're trying to find a specific one. So if you know basically when something was done, you can go through, and where it was, you can go through and find things fairly easily. But we're going to look at the Savannah Courthouse. So we're going to go down here to the S's. Okay. So there's the S's, and I'm looking for Savannah, Georgia, right here. We have two installations for Savannah, Georgia, page 33 and page 44. You can't see it, but I'm writing that down. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and skip past the rest of the index here. Okay, so here we are on page 1, 1888, Williamsburg, New York. So we want to skip straight to page 33. Page 33, and there we are, Savannah, Georgia, County Courthouse. They got a number 3 timepiece, special hands or 4-dial, 10 diameter dial, and it was purchased on July 30th, 1890. So that's cool. I love these. These are so interesting. If you have a tower clock locally, you know, check with us. If it's a Howard, or we'll look at Seth Thomas in a minute, we can probably find you the original order, and which is a really interesting piece of history. And these are just fun to look at if you ever have some hours to sit down and flip through them. They're really interesting. So that's basically how that works. I mean, that's really all it is. You go through, you try to find your date, you find your place, you go to the page. That's really all there is to it. It can be a little frustrating sometimes if you can't see, you just can't find the place you're looking for, but it's so worth it when you actually find one you're looking for. Okay, so we're going to skip now down to the Seth Thomas Tower records. This is a very similar sort of thing, except these are actually here. If you're in-house, we can actually pull those out so you can actually look at the particular books. These are just tower clocks. We don't have records for any of their other clocks, but we do have the records for the tower clocks. We're only missing, I think, 2 books, so we cover most of it. So then we actually got this piece of it a couple of years ago. This right here is a list that was given to General Time when they bought Seth Thomas, so that they would know where all the installations were. It's just a list of all of the places where tower clocks were installed. So I'm going to do another one that I was asked about recently. This is New York City, and we're looking for Broadway Presbyterian Church and their tower clock. So we're going to go straight here to New York through Virgin Island, so we can find the installation date for that. This makes it so much easier because you can go straight through here. If you know what state and city, you can find out when something was installed, when that way you know exactly what book to look for, and that makes it all so much easier than trying to comb through like 4 or 5 books before you finally find what you're looking for. We do try as much as possible to make this as user-friendly as we can. So I hope this is working out for people. So you can see this is New York, dates, locations, descriptions of the clock. So you get a little information right here. And we want one that was installed in New York City, so we're going to keep going down until we find New York City, and I'm looking for Broadway Presbyterian Church right here. It was March 1925, and it was a number 15 time strike and Westminster chime. So that gives us that information, just that much is nice to have right here. We're going to look and see if we can find the actual book. So March 1925. So we're looking, that's going to be here in the production books, and that probably be here in the first part of 1925 here in production book R. This also has serial number lists, so if you know the serial number of the clock you're looking for, that's also another way to find what book you're looking at. Those can be a little harder to find. You actually have to have the movement to find the serial number most of the time. So it's a little harder, but if you have those, that makes it all the easier. Okay, so again, this is just like working with the E. Howard books. Getting at A, B, it's all in order by city where it's installed. I, J, K, come on, there is New York. Okay, so we got New York, New York. We're looking for Broadway Presbyterian Church. Here it is right here. It's on page 167. Okay, so again, right here at the top, top of the screen, you got your page numbers. You just skip straight down here until we find page 16. Page 167, there it is. So we got the Broadway Presbyterian Church, care of Keneally Trucking Company in New York. Description of what they bought, time strike and Westminster chime, number 15. It tells you about it's a winding device. It's 110 volts. All the things that went with it. Winding key, the wrench and the oil, the chains, the hammer. It's really, that's really cool. It's just like a list of exactly what they bought and all of that. And then, of course, it was shipped on March 16th, 1925. So I'm going to go over one more in the Seth Thomas because this is something I stumbled on a few years ago. And I just think it's so cool. We're going to look here in Order Billing Book A. The early billing books, there's some stuff that's not actually tower clock related, some information like they apparently sold some things to Welch. They sold some things to different clock companies, and that's in here. Ooh, that's not supposed to happen. You're way too zoomed in. Okay, that's better. Okay, and of course now it's even worse, because that's what it does. Okay, I'm looking for page. So of course, because I'm trying to show this to a bunch of people, it's not behaving the way I want it to. It's just the way computers are, isn't it? And I went too far. Okay, this is the page that I wanted to show you guys because I think this is so wonderful. I was flipping through looking for something completely different one day and just stumbled on this. This right here, Philadelphia clock, bought by Henry Savert. This here is the record of the purchase of the clock that is currently in Independence Hall. It is a Seth Thomas. It was bought for the centennial, 1876. Henry Savert, who was a Philadelphian, bought it. He paid, you can see here, $6,000 for it. He paid in 3 installments. He actually, there was some problems with the clock that they had originally in the tower, and he went to the city fathers and said, I would like to do this. I would like to purchase a new movement for the tower clock for the city in celebration of the centennial. There is a rumor. This is so much fun. There is a rumor that Henry Savert, we do know, was a big spiritualist. He was very big in that movement, and supposedly he was told in a seance by his dead mother that he needed to purchase a clock for the for Independence Hall. Nobody knows if that's really true, but I love it. It's a wonderful story. So the idea is that instead of going to the fathers and saying, my dead mother told me to buy a clock for Independence Hall, he went and said, I would like to buy one for the centennial. They said, okay, it's still there. Which is really cool. You can actually, there's pictures, if you go to the Bulletin, there actually are some pictures of it in there. Okay, I've spent enough time with stuff that interests me. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to Hamilton. We're going to go back to company records. As most of you probably know, we have a lot of Hamilton information here. There's some links here to some of the information. There's lists of what we have as far as ephemera, what we have in the catalogs, the different agents that they sold to. Those are all here. This link right here that just says Hamilton is actually to our serial number guide. You can put in the serial number of your Hamilton watch, and it'll give you a little information about the movement. And if it is one of the ones that is covered by the ledgers that we have here, we do have the first several Hamilton ledgers in-house. They've all been digitized. It will show you the page of the ledger. So I'm just going to look up number 1 so I can show you that. So it'll show you serial number, start and model, description, size, little information about it, jewels, how much is adjusted, the first year they made them, last serial number, total production for that grade. And if it's in the ledger, you go right here, this will be a link, and you'll see that page out of the ledger. This is the page where serial number 1 is right here. I'm going to scroll in just a little bit so you can see it better. Number 1, number 2 went to Smith and Ash in Rochester, New York. Obviously I kept number 1. We've got, I love this, number 6 went to W.C. Ball, who was a big advocate for Hamilton and of course was basically the father of railroad time. So he was a big fan of Hamilton right away. That's nice. He also bought number 10. So you can see these usually won't tell you what individual actually purchased the watch, but it will tell you what jeweler, who it went to, where it went, which can give you an idea of like where the watch wound up. So if you have one, you need to know, you know, was this owned by my great-grandmother? You can look, you can see who bought it, where they were. Well, if that's about where she was, then it's a very good chance that that was hers and that she was bought for her. So that's nice information. I also want to show you a little bit more of what we have as far as Hamilton. The timely topics. The Hamilton timely topics were the company newsletter. They had a newsletter briefly in the 30s, which was really just for the guys who were going around selling Hamiltons so that they could keep up. The newsletter was relaunched in 1943, really because they wanted to have something that they could send to the employees who had gone overseas for the war so that they could get an idea of what was going on at home. And it became this really fascinating document of the war effort and what was going on at home, what was going on overseas. They printed letters from the boys who were over. They printed pictures of things that were sent back. They printed information about when they got their E awards. That information is there. You can see the pictures. It's all very, very, very interesting. I'm just going to pull up here. And these are all scanned. They're all here online and available to look at. This is the first one before they had decided what to call it. So they offered a $25 war bond for whoever came up with the name. I love that. And it just gives some information about the people who worked there. There's a questionnaire, What do they think about the new cafeteria? They're talking about a woman who works there who has 3 sons in the service. And there's a lot of this information about how important they were, how important their jobs were, and what they were doing. And then pictures of all the people. There's, as you get in further, and we'll go into those in just a second. This is, of course, the first one, so it's a little different. But when you get a little further in, we'll go here to 1944. You get a really interesting slice of these people's lives. They talk about the dances and the choir information. There's guys who had their Hamiltons with them when they flew over Rome. There's his cartoons, and then information about who was getting married, who had a baby. They had sports teams, and that information is here. Here's the new employees. So these are really cool to look at, even if you're in no way connected to Hamilton. They're really interesting. We're actually in the middle of a project. We're working on indexing all of these so that eventually you'll be able to, if you know somebody who worked at Hamilton during the years that are covered here, you'll be able to just check the index, find all the places where they're mentioned, and actually go and find them. Find out whether they were on the basketball team, or there's a thing that announced when they had a baby, or they were in the theatrical, or all of that information. So you got these pictures of the guys who were over. It's just they're really fascinating. There's so much information there. And it gives you such an interesting peek into the culture of the factory, and it's really, really good. I love these. I'm going on and on, but they're so cool. Okay, now one more thing. I wanted to talk about our archives. Most of you are probably aware, back in May we hired a new archivist. Her name is Kate Van Riper. She has been hard at work, and one of the things that she has done is she's made sure that every archival collection that we have has at least a rudimentary finding aid. A finding aid is just information about what is in the collection, so you can make a decision about whether you think it's going to be worth your time to come all the way here to look at it, or to have us go through it and find something for you. So all of those finding aids are now available on the website. You go here, Research, Archives, and then you do finding aid by subject, finding aid by call number, and the links are over here too. So we'll just go in there real quick. This is a list of all of our collections. They're by subject. You got the different watch and clock companies that we have represented, information about the NAWCC, jewelers and repair shops, personal papers of different people, subjects like our postcard collection, music collection, the advertisements, information about different clocks and watches, portraits, publications about different schools. So I'm just going to pull up one of these here. The Christopher Daniel collection. Mr. Daniel actually contacted us a couple of years ago because he, please work. And of course it's not working. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see if we can get that to work. It was working when I tested it. All right, Christopher Daniel, where'd you go? There you are. Oh, that's great. Of course it's not working. This is live, people. This is live. Let's try somebody else then. Let's try Brooks Palmer, see if he's working. Oh my God, of course they're not. Well, in theory, you should be seeing a picture of our finding aid. I'm going to attempt to do this on Firefox and see if it's a problem with Chrome. I apologize. I did test these. They were working. They're not today because here we are live. Okay, so research, archives, finding grades by subject. Let's try this again. I hope everybody's enjoying this. Okay, now then, Christopher Daniel, let's try him again. Yay, okay, now it's working. Hooray. Okay, so when you pull this up, you'll find, I was telling you about Christopher Daniel. He's this really nice Englishman. He is a brilliant designer of sundials. He did the dolphin sundial in front of, at Greenwich. He's done some really amazing ones all over, and he contacted us and said, nobody in England wants my papers. Would you guys like to have them? And we said, of course. So we took those in, and there are these amazing records of everything that he's made, the blueprints, pictures of the sundials, pictures of him, pictures of everything that he's ever done, research that he's done. It's amazing, and I totally recommend it to anybody who's interested in sundials. But this is just basically one of the rudimentary ones. We don't have a full finding aid for him yet, but it gives you a little bit about what we have. It's 7 boxes. It's the dates are 1960 to 2013. That's obviously Christopher Daniel made it. Any restrictions? For the most part, everything is going to be open. But sometimes we do have to have restrictions on who can access things. And then what's in the content? It's information about his career. So that's one of the really simple ones. We're working, of course, every day to make these more, get more information out there, but for the moment this is all that we have for him. So I'm going to show you one where we've got a little more information. Let me go back to finding aids by subject, and I'm going to go to the John J. Bowman collection. Okay, so it starts out the same. It's the Bowman collection. The dates that it covers, most of the stuff is covering 1948 to 1955, but there's information there for starting as early as 1904 going to 1991. It's in English and French. It's 4 boxes. There's no restrictions. If you were going to be using the collection, here's the citation for you to use. Information about how we processed it, when we processed it. It was a finding. It was compiled by Kate. The related subjects, a biography of Mr. Bowman, information about what's in it, what's in each box, and then we have the container list. It tells you what's in each folder. So this is really helpful if you're thinking, I don't know if I really need to look at the Bowman collection, but maybe you're interested in the articles that he did for Jeweler's Circular, or you're interested in the letters that he sent. That's all right here, and that tells you that that is what is in there. So that is we eventually should have finding aids like this for all of the collections. That is something that we should have done, in the coming years. It is a very slow process, but the wonderful thing is we do now have at least a rudimentary finding aid for everything. So if you're interested in what's in the archives, you can now come on the website and actually get an idea of what's there. Whether you should get an idea of whether you want to come in, whether you think you would like us to try to find something for you. And that is something that, for all members, we're here to help. And if you find something you think would be helpful, you find an article and you think we might have, you would like to look at, you think we might have the journal that it comes from, just give us a call. We'll make a copy. We can copy it, we can scan it. That's what we're here for, is to help you guys find what you need. So speaking of finding what you need, this is probably the #1 question that I get, besides how do I use the catalog. How do I find out what was in a past issue of the Bulletin? We do have a bulletin index online, and I'm going to go over that right now. It is not on the library section, it's actually under publications. This is another moment. Make sure you are logged in, because once you get to the articles, you do have to be logged in to access them. And it's very frustrating to get all the way there and then realize you didn't log in and have to go back and do that. So if all you want to do is find an old issue of the Bulletin, it's right here, past Bulletins. There's a link right here. That'll take you to all the entire backlog. You can go back and read every single bulletin we've ever put out online. It's a wonderful resource. The bulletins are full of so much information. We're looking for the index right now. So over here on the left-hand side, we have a link that says Watching Clock Bulletin. We're going to click on that, and then we're going down here to Bulletin Index. There are 3 different versions of the Bulletin Index. There is a browsable index. It's a PDF of the index. If you would prefer to just, you don't want to have to type stuff in, you can use that. You can just scroll straight through. I'm not really going to go over it right now because it's pretty straightforward. You just go through, look at subjects, find what you're looking for. But sometimes it's easier to actually use a keyword index. We have 2 of those. We have the Bulletin Index Search and the Bulletin Quick Index. So we're going to start with the Quick Index. This one, it's very important to go ahead and be logged in because it will pull up the articles directly from here. So you go down here, you got the keywords. The class is a little confusing, but basically it's laid out right here. Author, it's basically there's letters that will come up when you get your results. It's whether they'll show that they're the author of the piece. They're a clockmaker. They're not their watchmaker, they're something else, their personality or subject. It's a book review. Minor mention, X, is a very nice thing to check for because it's very frustrating when you're going through and trying to find information about somebody. You click on an article and you realize that there's just like a tiny mention of them in a paragraph buried in the middle of an article, and it doesn't tell you anything. It's like their name is just there. So watch out for those. So for demonstration, we're going to go, we're going to look up Aaron Willard. You can just type in the last name, Willard. Again, we're going to get into, we need to refine what we're looking for because this is going to give you a huge number of results. It is sometimes helpful if you're looking for a lesser known person to just put their last name in because you're not going to wade through a million results on that. We'll show you one of those in a minute. But with Willard, you're going to want to specify which Willard you want. So we're going to do Aaron Willard. I'm going to search for him. Okay. So we got 4 pages of results for Aaron Willard. What you got here, you got the class we just talked about. So he's clockmaker all the way through here. It'll give you right here what volume, what issue, the page he is mentioned on, and then the article start page and end page. So that's that can be a little confusing, but that's what that is. Volume 4, issue 39, and of course the bulletin is does go straight through. There's whole numbers for each one, so they don't start over. It's not like volume 4, number 1, 2, 3, 4, volume 5, number 1, 2, 3. But you do them sequentially. So issue 39 is the 39th issue of the bulletin, but it is in volume 4. The page that he's mentioned on, some of these articles are long and sometimes they're only mentioned once. So he's on page 371. The article starts on page 370 and ends on page 377. So that's to help you figure out what you're looking at. So we're going to look at one of these articles because what I'm interested in is tall case clocks. I'm going to look at a tall case clock that that Aaron Willard made, and so we're going to Willard Aaron tall case clock described, volume 35, bulletin number 282. It is mentioned on page 73, which is the page that the article starts, and it ends on page 75. It's a good idea when you're doing these to right-click. That way you can open in a new tab if you're a fan of tab browsing, which I am. so that it comes up over here, because otherwise you click straight on it, you're going to go straight to that page. When you want to come back here, you're going to have to use the back button. You're going to have to redo your search. It'll be really frustrating. This way you can really quickly go through things. Okay, so we're looking at page 73. It's an article that was actually sent into the Bulletin by the Willard House about a tall case clock that Aaron Willard made. So there's a little information about him. It's a nice tall case clock. It's got a rocking ship. I love those. Those are so fun. Nice pictures of the dial. And that's just a little information. If you're looking for something on a specific clockmaker, it's another one of those things. It's like going through the bulletin. Sometimes you're going to have to try a bunch of different keywords. You're going to have to try searching several different ways in order to find what you're looking for. But it is worth it when you do find what you're looking for. So that's how you use the quick search. It's very simple. I recommend it because you can very quickly go through a bunch, like I want to look through a bunch of articles. Say I'm trying to figure out if we have something helpful in the bulletin about Aaron Willard, I can very quickly go through and see whether these articles are something helpful or not without having to go elsewhere and then come back. So that is the quick search. And now we're going to go over one more. The index search. The index search is a really good search, but some people find it very frustrating and it's a little slower. But I want to show you how to access an article, and this is another way to access them. So I'm going to look something up. I actually had somebody ask me about Martin Schreiner the other day, so we're going to use him. You can see I put in Schreiner because I know there's not going to be that many results on Schreiner, so I'm just going to put that in rather than putting Schreiner Martin, because you never know, there might be something that is missed if I'm more specific, which is why I always say try a bunch of different keywords, because you'll find more information that way. Try and be very broad and then be very specific when you're looking for information. So what we have are all the information, all the times that Martin Schreiner was mentioned in the bulletin. And some of these are just going to be like request for information. That's probably the answer box. There's a clock in the NAWCC museum. Musical clocks made by Martin Sr. I want to go to here. Okay, so it's an article on Lancaster, PA maker. That tells me this is probably an article on him. It's not an article on somebody else that he is mentioned in, like this one here, PA clockmaker, clock with movement made by James Hawthorne. You see that X? That tells me it's probably an article about James Hawthorne, and Martin Schreiner's just mentioned. It doesn't mean it's not worthwhile, but it's not really what I'm looking for. So we're going to go here. Okay, so we got Martin Schreiner, article, clockmaker, volume number 37. And again, you can't see this, but I am writing this down because it's much easier to have it written in front of you than to have to keep coming back to this page. So volume 37, I've got issue 298, page number 579. Okay, so now we are going to go back to the NAWCC homepage, and we are going to go back to publications. We are logged in, that's very important. We're going to go to past bulletins. Okay, so on the past issues page, you'll see here you've got the different decades that you can use. If you're not sure what decade what you're looking for is in, there is a chart here. This is very helpful. So I'm looking for volume 37. You can see here volumes 32 through 41 are in the 90s. So I'm going to the 1990s up here. You can also do the same thing with the whole numbers, just find where they're listed there. So I'm going to go to the 1990s. This gives you every bulletin put out during that decade, listed, date, volume, issue. So I'm looking for volume 298. Here it is. It's October 1995. I'm going to click on that. And we'll see all of the articles that were in the bulletin that month with the page numbers. We know we're looking for 579. That is the first page of the article. Sometimes you'll get a page number, like I showed you on the quick index. You'll get a page number that's in the middle of the article, and you do have to sit here and try to figure out where it falls, but it's not super difficult, but sometimes you have to sit there and try and figure it out. But this one's much easier. So we go in here, we'll click on page 579, and we have Martin Schreiner from Clocks to Fire Engines. So like I said, quick index is a lot easier to work with, but I wanted to make sure that you could see also, besides just how to go straight to the article from the index, how to actually find an issue, a page, an article on the website, because sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you don't need to go straight to the article. Sometimes you just want to browse through an old bulletin, and that's possible. And like I said, every single issue of the bulletin is here. No matter how old, they're all right here. If you're looking for you just want to browse through bulletins from the 50s, you can go straight to 1950s. And you can access all of those back here online. Okay, so I have just a couple more plugs I want to do. I'm going to talk a little bit. We are the museum and the association have a social media presence. If you're not aware of that already, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Tumblr, and we're on Twitter. And the library does participate in all of those. We post, you can see here we posted a Hamilton ad, we posted a Christian Dior ad. I love this Bulova, it's teeny cute little Bulova. We're on Tumblr. Kate, as I mentioned, our new archivist, actually published a really fascinating series not long ago. It was in the Bowman papers. It was just his description of visiting Germany right as World War I was starting, which is fascinating. So you should look that up. It's going to be in the bulletin as well. Instagram, we post pictures of schematics that we find, articles, ads. We try to put interesting things. And the museum, of course, also does a lot of post clocks and watches. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, our social media is a really nice place to follow. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, any of those, we are there too. Just a quick plug, we do have an eBay store now, stores.ebay.com/watchclockcollectors. There's a sale going on right now. We're selling lots of books, we're selling clocks, watches, all that stuff. Definitely check us out. And one more thing. Obviously, this is the case tonight. If you have any questions, certainly ask them. Katie is going to go over that. But just in general, if you have a question, contact us and ask. Kate and I are here all the time. That's what we're here for. We're happy to help. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. We'll pull books for you. We'll pull articles for you. We'll look up that clock, that watch. Just give us a call and ask. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Katie and your questions. I hope this was helpful.
Thank you, Sarah. And we're now going to begin answering questions. I know some have already submitted, but as a reminder, you can still submit questions through that questions pane in your attendee control panel. So Sarah will go ahead and get started. And I just want to also mention, Sarah, the issues we had with the different web browsers, it happens to everybody, people. So it's not you, it's us too. So don't be afraid to contact us. All right, so our first question is, does the lending fee include return shipping?
No, it doesn't. You are responsible for return shipping on that. That just covers our expenses for getting it out to you. You do have to pay to send it back. You can use medium mail, you can use UPS like we do, you can use FedEx, whatever works best for you. As long as it gets back to us, I don't care.
Okay, our next question is from Dale. What can we see from the vertical files? Do you have scans of the contents available online? For instance, he saw a new listing for Simplex vertical file, and he had some interest in dating a mechanical clock. So I'm guessing he's wondering kind of what he can see from that.
At the moment, all that we have is just basically that they exist as far as what's online for those. Eventually, we will probably try to get a lot of that online. One of the problems with the vertical files is it's largely articles, pages out of catalogs. A lot of the stuff is under copyright, which means we don't have the right to put it online. The best thing to do is, like I said, contact us. We'd be happy to look in it for you. We'd be happy to scan what we can out of it for you. If you are looking to date a clock, send us a picture of the clock. We'd be happy to look at it.
Okay, and next question is, your PDF of videos did not have a date of origin. The slideshow conversions do have some dates, so I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, we don't have the dates of origin on there, like as far as the slide tape programs, mostly because we don't usually know exactly when they were made. The slide tapes the slides unfortunately don't have dates on them. So we don't actually know when they were made.
Okay. And our next question is, are any of the books downloadable as a PDF? Or
No, that's another thing. We may get that, get some of that going someday. Again, it's a copyright issue. We're hoping a project we see, in the horizon, and by the horizon I mean it could be, it could be years, but it is something we're considering, trying to put some of the really old books, stuff in the special collections. We'd love to get that digitized and online so you guys can look at it. The issue with getting stuff online is always copyright. If we don't have the rights to it, we can't scan it and put it online. And at the moment, we're not set up to ebooks.
Okay. And the next question is, how does one go about getting their login credentials?
That you will have to contact somebody in membership for. I don't have those, but Pam Lindenberger is the membership director. She can get that for you. Also, Sherry Lapp is able to do that. If you give them a call or email them, they can set you up with those.
And I'll just add to that, if you go to our homepage and go to the Contact Us button, everyone's extension is there,
nice.
an email that it will say, if you're having a problem with this is who to contact. So you can see that right there, or just call in and they'll be happy to direct you there. And I think that's all of the questions we have. So thank you, Sarah, again. And thank you for everyone attending this webinar. Just as a reminder, once you leave tonight's webinar, you'll receive a survey on the presentation, and we would appreciate it if you would complete that and provide your feedback. You will also receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to the recording of this webinar. So if you want to go back and see how Sarah showed you how to use some of the tools available, you can do that. And also remember that the program committee has organized these monthly webinars, and all of the earlier presentations are recorded and available for viewing on our website. And just as a reminder, this is our last presentation for the year. We'll see you back here in January. And on behalf of the NAWCC and Sarah, thank you for joining us, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.